Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wealth Frequency event. Today, I have a really special guest, Nicole Bayliss. Nicole is an author, spiritual healer, and soul path guide. And through experiencing her own life challenges many years ago, she awakened to her purpose. Through meditation, prayer, and study, Nicole began to receive truths and was shown we are all here to align to our soul and to live a life of joy, purpose, and abundance. And in order to do this, however, we must be cleared of the old programming, conditioning, wounding, and self-limiting beliefs that prevent us from knowing who we really are. And Nicole teaches us universal laws and how to apply them to our lives. And today we are talking about the 7 universal laws that will shift your wealth frequency. So, Nicole, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Ace Warrior.
It's so good to have you. And I'm sure, like myself, a lot of the viewers are really interested in the 7 universal laws. Now, it might be some of the laws that they're familiar with, and then it might be some that they're not. So, could you first just tell us why these 7 universal laws are potent and powerful?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, do you know there are infinite universal laws, and some of them kind of overlap each other. There are more primary ones and then lesser ones, and it they actually are infinite when I started looking into them about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But what I found with the universal laws personally, when I started reading about them and understanding them, they gave me an understanding of how the universe works in a way that nothing else did. I was doing a lot of meditation at the time too, and I don't know about you, Warrior, but when you start your meditation journey, things just start coming to you, just simply because you're more connected. And and one of the things that came to me was a book on universal laws, and then I looked more and more into it. But the 7 I've picked for this particular wealth frequency event are the 7 I feel are probably the most important if we want to live an abundant life. And by abundance, of course, I don't just mean things, but it's everything. It's inner peace, it's love, it's feelings of joy, it's good relationships. Of course, it's about having the things that we need in order to live that fulfilling life as well. And of course, it's health. Let's face it, if we haven't got our health, what have we got at all? So it's just so many things. But the universal laws have been written about and spoken about for thousands of years. You'll find they're spoken about in parables, in biblical stories, in the teachings of Buddha, in the Kabbalah, with the Freemasons. I mean, most religions are actually interwoven with the, inter- the universal laws, often told in the form of stories. So, and then I don't know who actually came up with let's, actually talk about universal laws. But um, so probably most of our viewers know about the law of attraction, whereby the more you think about something, write about something, talk about something, you draw it to you and you feel like you have it. So you draw it to you. But that is but one law. And knowing only about that law, it's like eating one particular food and expecting yourself to be healthy. And in fact, some teachers of universal laws say that that's actually not even a primary law. There's actually more important laws to know about before you learn about the law of attraction. And I would agree with that because also we've got to be careful about what we create.
Mhm.
I mean, there's been many powerful creators in this world. Hitler was a creator. So it's we want to be, I guess, soul connected. I think soul connection is the most important thing when it comes to creating anything. If it's part of our sort of soul plan, our and in alignment with our soul, then it's always going to be a great creation.
Mhm.
So shall I begin with talking about the ones I feel are probably most important at this time for everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us the ones you think are important. And if I have any questions, I'll just interrupt you if that's
Please do. Please
yeah.
feel free to
Okay.
interrupt me at any time. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one is the law of abundance. And this law deems that you have within yourself everything required to make your earthly incarnation a paradise. Now, this is not how most people think or what most people believe. So it can be, it's like, really, what? Um, if you choose to accept the truth that abundance is your divine birthright, but most of us have not been brought up knowing this or believing this. Um, so you may not necessarily have what you want right now, but you have within yourself everything you need to create it. You simply start with what you have now. That's also part of this law. Now, we currently live in a universe of abundance, although most people perceive it as a universe of scarcity. This is because we've been conditioned to believe in a world of lack and limitation. This conditioning, it's held in the ego mind, and it continues to create a reality of lack for the majority of us. And this is not our fault. It's old conditioning that's come through from our ancestors. Now, the ego mind is the part of us that believes in fear and scarcity and limitation, and it feeds us thoughts of fear, scarcity, and limitation. It has us looking through like a lens of fear and scarcity and limitation. That's our default mode. It's our conditioning. And it's basically in our DNA.
Mm.
But the universe is the source of all things. In the unawakened state, we are attached to the earthly means of gaining our abundance. So we do not trust that we will be provided for by a loving universe. Instead, we become very overly attached to how we might get it, from where it might come. But actually, there are many channels that some we don't even know. So something it's a really good idea in order to embrace this law. When I started reading about this law, this is what I used to do. I used to stand with my arms open wide, and I would say to the universe every day, I am open to all the channels of abundance. And I would just sort of kind of bring it in with my arms. And just that is just a reminder that I don't know if you've ever had any miracles where something just comes out of left field, somewhere from nowhere, where it's not even, didn't even expect it, but the universe heard you and it opened a channel somewhere and it came. And sometimes you might be asking for something and you may get what you need, not necessarily what you want, because of course this is the divine intelligence and it knows even better what we want in that moment or what we need in that moment.
Mm. So is
Yeah.
this about, I love this law. Is this about also trust and surrender? Like once we tap into this law, what do we then do? Do we kind of sit back and trust, or is there another thing?
Yeah. Well, the following universal laws will put it all together for you.
Great.
So you're a step ahead of me. So the second one, and I'm sure you'll know about this one. It's the law of gratitude. That's I think I put it at number two because it is just so important.
Mm.
So the law of gratitude deems that whatever we feel grateful for and appreciative of will expand. From there, we will have more.
Mm.
That's, I suppose, why gratitude is spoken about so often these days. And um, it really is so important. So when we are in genuine gratitude, and when I say genuine gratitude, we're not just sitting there writing the list thinking, yeah, I'm going to do my gratitude list today. We've got to really feel it. We've got to really feel it, feel where we feel the gratitude in our bodies. It's the feeling that actually changes our vibration. So when we are in genuine gratitude, we are focusing on what we already have. And from this place, we create more. Now, there may be things that many of us would like to have, but do not have yet. But it will never actually be created from a vibration of lack. When, we're sitting around thinking, is this all I have? Or, I don't have enough. So things can only be created from a mind that already feels abundant.
Mm.
So, from the place of feeling that we have enough, we draw to us even more. Attempting to create anything from a vibration of lack is like trying to grow crops in barren soil. It basically just won't happen. Or it might happen, but if we're constantly in lack, it will come in and it will go out again. And so, to be grateful, we need to take a proactive approach because by default, we've been programmed to constantly notice what is lacking in our lives. If you think about it, the ancestors had to look out for bad weather and crop failures and all that kind of thing in order to survive. But we're living in times we've got to go beyond survival mode now. We're no longer, we want to be in thrive mode. And as we realize that we are all creators or co-creators. So that regular practice of gratitude is key. And you can do it daily by simply becoming present and notice what you have around you, just everything you have today. And it doesn't have to be big things. Just on a daily basis, to look for new things each day, also to be grateful for. And that's the interesting thing. I don't know whether you ever found this, when you start practicing gratitude, you then start noticing more to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like attracts like. It's the law of attraction with the law of gratitude. It just starts to build upon itself. And so that is the best way to turn that old thinking and old conditioning around, is gratitude.
Yeah, definitely. And just a question has just popped in because sometimes it's like I can hear the audience. What does somebody do if they see somebody else in their world that has something that they want and they can maybe feel envious? How do we
Yes,
flip that around?
I love that question. That's a really relevant question because I think that's first of all, it's a very normal human reaction. It's almost, again, it's by default. If there's something you really want and you haven't got it, suddenly your best friend has it. It's very normal to feel envious. So first of all, love yourself
Mhm.
and really give yourself some compassion. Just say, okay, and it's the awareness piece. Okay, just be aware, I'm feeling envious. But there's what universal law would I apply to this one? Well, I just want to describe how energy works, first of all. If someone around you or someone in your field has what you want, it's actually a sign that it's getting closer to you. Now, the ego mind thinks in the opposite way. It thinks, she has it, therefore I'm never going to have it. But actually, the truth is the opposite. You're being shown that this is possible now because someone near you has it. And so then you can proactively just think, okay, if you can remind yourself of that, and then you consciously choose to feel happy for them. Now you can actually say to the person, you could even say it, if it depending on the relationship, you can say, I'm so happy for you because you've got what I want, and it means actually it's coming for me too. By the way, this law also works the other way. I think sometimes negative things can also start, you can be shown something
Mhm.
that may be a warning bell, but I don't want to go that way. But
Mhm.
but this is in relation to your question about envy. So you can say that to the person, or you can just say it silently to yourself. I'm choosing to be happy for Ace Warrior because she has what I want and she's showing me I can have it too.
Yeah. And I think another way to silence the ego in that moment, because I know the ego will probably be like, oh, but maybe we can look at that situation and take what we want. And if there's some, like you said, if there's something about it that we don't want to go in that way, it's a symbol, right? So overall, it's a symbol of what we want, but we can kind of make the ego say, okay, well, that bit I don't choose. I might create that bit better or different.
Yes, 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 exactly.
Mm,
I think, the key to all of this is awareness, isn't it? Of what's going on in us, what we're feeling, and knowing that in any present moment, we have the power to change our thoughts, our feelings.
mm,
And, but number one, before we change anything, and I'm not even talking about this law today, but I'll mention it, is the universal law of acceptance.
mm.
First of all, just accepting the what is, accepting how we feel before we go about trying to change anything, and meeting ourselves with love because we're human. And it's a pretty messy process sometimes being human.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, shall I move on to the next law?
Yes, please.
Okay, the next one is the law of process. And this law deems that there is a process to creating anything. So often we forget that life is a process. Everything's a process. The ego wants to jump from here to there. It wants everything now or as soon as possible, and constantly has you focusing on the destination rather than the journey. But there is a journey to getting anywhere we want to go. And sometimes, if we've aspired to something quite big, that journey may be longer and a little bit more complicated than if it's just a smaller wish. And I guess also in this process, I'm sure you'd agree with me here, if there's anything we aspire to, we have to become more before we have more. We have to transform ourselves on the way to the creation of something. So the law of process deems that certain things may have to happen in a certain order, and very often only the universe knows what that order is. I mean, have you ever found yourself working at something that just will not give you the result you want? And this may be because you may not be taking the right approach. Perhaps something more important needs to be done first. Sometimes taking a break can be helpful because it may give you a different perspective of things. You may get an insight as to how to go about the process differently. Um, you know, the process can be a process of trial and error. I know I've certainly been through that, and failures, and 2 steps forward, 2 steps back.
Mm.
The law of process does require faith when things don't seem to be moving forward or when they appear to even be getting worse. And I think faith is just such, you mentioned that word earlier. Faith is so important. Having faith in ourselves, having faith in the process of life. And there'll be times when our faith is going to be tested.
Mm.
There may be ups and downs in the process, um, but it's learning to trust in the process.
Yeah. And just what do you feel, Nicole, about divine timing? What's your opinion on that?
Wow, that's our next law.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I can
Yes.
follow through.
See, you're ahead. You just keep jumping. You're already ahead of me.
I know.
um, but I think we have to keep reminding ourselves, that life is a journey, not a destination. And why not enjoy the journey? Don't fall for the ego mind trickery, which says, I'll be happy and fulfilled when I finally get over there.
Hmm.
We've got to learn to enjoy today, even if we haven't necessarily got the things we want or achieved what we want. And then if you do that, you will certainly enjoy when you do get there. But here's the thing, I don't know if you've ever found this, because I know in my past I've experienced this. desperately wanted something. I've finally created it. And I can feel really happy for a few weeks, only to then go back into that emptiness and aspiring to something else because I'm still not fulfilled. There's still emptiness there. And I think a lot of the world is living like that.
Mhm.
And so I suppose you can see how this ties in with gratitude as well. Just
Yeah.
keep being appreciative of today. Um, yeah, so if you're not finding joy now, you're unlikely to sustain joy even when you do arrive at your destination. So joy or happiness or, inner peace, whatever we want to call this thing that some people call happiness,
Mm.
it's choosing, it's a conscious choice.
Yeah, that's why it's a conscious choice to be happy right now without you having the thing because you'll always be on to the next thing. You'll always want something else, and you'll always feel like this if you don't transmute this feeling. So,
Exactly. Thank
yeah.
you. You put it beautifully. And yeah, to learn to be happy independent of circumstances.
Mm.
And that's important work. Now, I did put the law of timing, divine timing, as law number 5. But seeing as you've mentioned it, let's talk about that first, and then I'll go back to the one I
Mhm.
was going to mention.
Okay, great.
Because I think process and timing are very tied together. So the law of divine timing deems that the universe is ultimately in charge of the timing of everything. We may think we are. um, and this is why sometimes, no matter how hard we work for a particular outcome to happen by a particular time, it doesn't.
Mhm.
The universe knows the best possible timing of everything, even if our limited ego mind does not agree. I'm just wondering how you feel about that, seeing as you asked me the question of divine timing.
That feels like a huge relief. I mean, I that feels like truth to me.
Thank
Um,
you. Do you know that? Can I just say, every single law brings relief.
yeah.
The word relief is spot on. Thank you.
Mm.
Yes, yes. You think about this. Um, from the time we go to school, we are conditioned to strive, to force, to push. School is a timetable, it's deadlines. Then we go to work, and there's more timetables, and there's more deadlines. There's, the age of productivity started. Well, actually, they say that the universal law of divine timing got interfered with the invention of the clock when we started to measure time. And I think most human beings have a very unhealthy relationship with time. Again, it's not their fault, it's deeply programmed into us.
Mhm.
Um, so, while it's absolutely fine to have an idea of when you want to achieve something, it's important to trust that things will manifest when they are meant to, and not a moment before and not a moment after. Just like think about how a rose blooms, it has its own organic process built into it. Now, you can hothouse a rose, but it doesn't last very long and it has no scent. I think that's the perfect metaphor. So we can force things. Sometimes we can force things that we're not even ready for. Whereas the universe thinks in that organic way of readiness, when we're truly ready for something, and then it'll be magnificent.
Mhm.
So there is an organic process to the creation of everything, and that is perfect. An acorn planted in the ground will sprout and eventually become an oak tree, but it's not going to happen overnight. The mystic Saint Teresa of Avila wrote, "Patience obtains all things." Another way of saying good things come to those who wait. And it's important to remember that we and time are not actually separate. We're actually one. So if there's something you're wanting, and of course there's a process to getting there, the time is already built into that too. It's all one, really.
Mm.
Um, time is not the set plane that we perceive it to be. It's actually elastic and it's easily affected by our vibration. So have you ever had a day where you just feel like you're in flow and everything's created easily and it just flows?
Yeah.
And other days, nothing seems to go well, and the more frustrated you get, the more delayed things happen, the more frustration, the more fractured the energy. It just doesn't flow.
Mm-hmm.
And so the most important thing is to manage our own vibration.
Mm.
And before trying to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve. So if we believe in a lack of time, we're going to be saying regularly, I don't have enough time. Or you'll be battling against time and finding there are not enough hours in a day. Now, that's been the story of my life. That's a big one I've had to transcend. I don't know about you,
Mm.
but even now I find I'm still working on it. The truth is that there is enough time to do all that is in your highest good this lifetime. But again, it's the law of abundance. There is enough time, but most of us don't believe it because of our ego mind, and also just all the constant messages we are getting
Mm.
that opposes that.
Mm. And of course, Nicole, you actually have these, because I know people will be thinking, oh, I want to remember these 7 laws. You actually have a free gift, which is an ebook.
Yes, yes. Do I see a cat tail there?
Yes, I
Oh,
tried to keep her off.
that's great. My cat's here too. She sometimes visits, but she's not at the moment. I love it. Hello, hello,
Live.
hello. So yes, I've got a free ebook called "The 7 Universal Laws That Will Shift Your Wealth Frequency."
Hmm.
And in this ebook, I describe it all, and I also give you some guidance on how to embrace that law.
Hmm.
And of course, we're going to be doing a light activation meditation also to um, align your energy to the law. So you may even feel a little different after this session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I know you
Okay.
have more laws, so I thought that's they can access it from the free gift because I know that you've also got that meditation coming up for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about that meditation?
So I'm just going to be going through each of the 7 laws we're describing,
Hmm.
and I'm going to be doing something called a light activation. When I actually say the word light activation and I say the law, what is actually going to be happening is, and of course the healing will be different for everybody. It's whatever they're ready, however much they're ready to upgrade.
Hmm.
So what happens is it's going to be deleting whatever is standing in the way of you embracing that law,
Hmm.
and then encoding the law within your energy field.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean you're going to have an absolute 100% shift to the law overnight, but you may well feel a difference.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
are we ready to do that right now?
Well, can I quickly just go through the other laws
Yes.
very quickly?
Yes, of
And
course.
okay, so I'm going to be very brief,
Hmm.
but they're important. The next one is the law of least resistance, and that requires us to take the path of least resistance whenever we can. Now, most of us have been conditioned to believe that in order to get anywhere in life, we must strive, force, struggle, or sacrifice to get there, but this is not how we're meant to go about things. The law of least resistance encourages us to flow and not fight. And if we have a problem, we find a way of least resistance to deal with the problem. A bit like how a river flows around rocks. Okay, the law of detachment. So the law of detachment deems that, one second, When we detach from an outcome, we allow the universe to orchestrate in its own way and its own time. So this law requires us to detach from an outcome entirely, basically to get out of the way. You will actually create more powerfully by letting go than by holding on. So just releasing it into the universe. And basically, if you're overly attached to something, you're not allowing the light in. The light can't get in. And you're giving a message to the universe that I don't trust you. But by releasing it, you're letting the divine intelligence come in and co-create with you. Mm-hmm. And finally, and very briefly, the universal law of love. And this is a really important one. But of course, you will read more about this in the ebook. But basically, it deems that love heals everything and that all good things are created through the vibration of love. Love is your greatest asset. It changes everything for the better. Because life doesn't flow well when love is not flowing. Relationships are troubled when love is not flowing. Abundance withers when love is not flowing. Health will deteriorate when love is not flowing. And creativity will be stifled when love is not flowing. So you can read more about that in the ebook and how to embrace that law as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for letting us know all those laws. And I will pin you right now so we can experience that beauty.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to put some music on for this. And just ask our viewers just to get comfortable and just connecting with their in-breath and their out-breath. And feeling into your body. And sensing the spaciousness there. And the energy within you. And all around you. Take a moment now to think of what you are grateful for. That's what we're going to begin with. Just take a moment. What am I grateful for? Just think of 3 things in this present moment. Allow yourself to feel appreciation. Notice where you feel it in your body. How it feels. As I now request a light activation to the law of gratitude. Allow yourself just to breathe, relax, and surrender as you receive this light activation. And if you say either out loud or to yourself, I'm so grateful for all that I have and all that I shall have. And now, as you sit here in grateful presence, I want you to feel the energy surrounding you. And know that the universe and you are one. The universe wants for you what you want. It wants you to feel whole and to enjoy life and to have the things you need for that. And now request the light activation for the law of abundance. And just allow yourself to breathe and relax. Stay open to allow this light activation for the law of abundance. And say, I have within myself everything required to make my earthly incarnation a paradise. And breathing. I want you now to bring to mind a goal, a vision, or something that you're working on or wanting. Just take a moment to locate that. Ask yourself now, am I enjoying the journey to getting there? Or am I obsessing too much about the destination? Am I choosing to enjoy the present moment? And take a deep and cleansing breath in and out. As I remind you that life is a journey and not a destination. And I request the light activation for the universal law of process. And if you say now, I accept that life is a process, I embrace the journey on my way to the destination. And now ask yourself, am I taking the path of least resistance while still taking action? Allow your body now to relax. Imagine being like water, just flowing like a river. As I now request the light activation for the law of least resistance. Breathe, relax, and surrender. Know that you're moving forward and you're flowing like a river. You say after me, I choose to move forward with grace and ease. And now ask yourself, am I feeling impatient for the things that I want? I want you now to just see yourself as a rose, and the rose is blooming. You and time are one. You don't need to fight time anymore. Allow yourself to take an organic approach to the timing of things. As I request the light activation for the law of divine timing. Breathing and relaxing and allowing yourself to receive this light activation. And if you now say, I surrender to the universe's timing, which is always perfect. Are you feeling overly attached to an outcome? Do you fear something if it doesn't happen? Just lovingly acknowledge what comes up. Imagine holding the thing you want lightly in the open palm of your hand, not gripping, not clenching. Imagine releasing it now into the universe, like a bird flying up to the heavens. And say, I let go and I trust. I now request the light activation for the law of detachment. And now breathe into your heart space and feel the love that lives there. Send love to yourself. Send love to everybody who's meditating with you. Feeling into your heart, breathing from the heart, connecting with your divine essence. As I now request a light activation for the universal law of love. And if you say after me, love heals all things and creates all things. And then just taking a deep and cleansing breath in and out. Just feeling yourself present in the here and now. And thank you for doing this practice with me today. Sending you love. And just whenever you're ready, open your eyes.
Wow, that was so beautiful, Nicole. I
Oh,
can't,
that's so good. I'm glad.
yeah, because you put all the laws in on a journey, and some of the questions I had, yeah, just got answered. Like one of the questions was, how do we, go on the path of least resistance? But then you brought that light activation to and asked for that.
Great. I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's been a pleasure chatting with you today, Aswaria.
You too, Nicole. And we'll put all your links down below. Nicole's website, her Instagram, her insight timer, and also her free gift. So you can go and get that and be part of
Wonderful.
her community.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
having me.
Thank you for being here.